Strength is the only thing that matters in this world. There's only one certainty in life. A strong man stands above and conquers all. I know how strong Frieza is. There's no way I can beat him now. But wait and see. As the last of the Saiyans, we have flowing through our veins the blood of a warrior race. The more we fight, the more powerful we become. With each fight, I'll get stronger and stronger. And one day, I'll be strong enough to beat Frieza.
Noob Master. Welcome to the Noob Master channel. Today, I'm going to touch on the 4th order and the 6th order. This one is a bit tricky, but also not that tricky. There's a lot of mixed reviews on how to build it. There's lots of ratios, there's airspace, you know, and then there's you're gonna build it for SPL or you're gonna build it for music, especially on the 4th. But just to run down on some of the basics. Now the simple basics is a 4th order, just a plain 4th order. That's your normal ported box or base reflex. Ported or vented or aero ported box. That's your normal 4th order. And then you get your 4th order bandpass, just like this one here that I've got behind me here. Bandpass. Okay, but many people would actually assume bandpass to be a subwoofer inside a box, like this one here. But the actual true meaning of a bandpass is it's a filter. In essence, that's what it is. It's a filter. But you know, we associate it with subwoofer inside a box. Bigger builds, like your wall builds and your C-pillar builds, and you know, the big ones, the big boykies. When they do their 4th order bandpasses and that, normally you'll be able to see the driver, normally. But then once you start going smaller and smaller bolts, there's basically no way you can see the driver, except if you maybe put a plexiglass over here, and even with that you have to put in a very thick plexiglass, not this flimsy. Sometimes you see the guys are putting like plexiglass just for show, and then when the bass actually hits it, that thing starts flexing and vibrating and creating unnecessary frequencies, playing through your music. So and through your bass, and then through your music as well. So your plexiglass has to be very thick for that. On the 4th order side, this is now where it becomes, especially the bandpass. This is where it becomes. There's like camps when you want to build one of these babies. Okay, some people say don't go via ratios. I can understand that. I actually understand that point of view of actually not even going via your ratio per se, because you at the end you want decent amount of acoustical energy so that you can actually enjoy your music or hit a high score if you're an SPL person, type of a person. But if you're gonna go the ratio route, there's plenty of people that will tell you, look, you know what, 1:1. Nothing wrong with that. 1:1 is nothing wrong with that. It's decent. You can hit high numbers. You can enjoy your music. Others will say 2:1. Okay, granted. 3:1. Others stick by huge ratios. Now I'm talking about massive ratios. 8:1, 7:1, 10:1. Those are massive ratios. What happens once you start going higher and higher with those ratios? What happens is you start, like, if this is your bandwidth. If it's like that, what will happen is it'll start going up that way, in that direction. It starts peaking like that. And that's with your higher ratios, and then you get like bigger scores in that. With these type of enclosures, you'll see them a lot of the times, the guys that use demos and hit very high numbers. The DB drag guys, mean the top dogs, most of them these band passes, most of them. I don't think I've seen a ported enclosure really competing with those type of enclosures. One of the other things that the guys would actually talk about is obviously now the fourth being it narrows your bandwidth, you know, so you don't get the full how can I say, full broad spectrum of your bass, so to say. But I'm gonna show you a chart. Most of the times this is what people will show you. Okay, when you see the chart, I'll show you now. Right, as you can see with that chart, you can see that the fourth order bandpass is the one that's basically curved, and then your normal ported box is actually the one that actually has a peak. It goes up as a peak and then comes a little bit down and it flattens down, it flattens out. Okay, so most of the times people will show you this as a comparison for the fourth and say, ah, well, look, you know, the fourth, look at that, it's rolling off here now, and you know, you're not getting the full spectrum properly of your bandwidth. But they don't show you this other graph. As you can see on this other graph here is in reality, on paper and whatever, you know, when the guys will show you that it's valid, you can see, okay, the ported is, it will be loud, okay, in that sense, especially when you start going from the peaks and up, you know, it'll be loud. But in reality, who wants to hear voices through their subwoofers? And who would want to hear 150 hertz, 200 hertz up in the subwoofers at high volumes? I mean, that's what I mean, a lot of the forums and a lot of the groups, everyone will tell you, you know, you set your low pass filter at 80, and when you do your low pass filter, what happens is you narrow the bandwidth. So for me, it kind of looks like a fourth order bandpass. In a sense, if you add a filter. So I don't know what then would the big deal be if you anyway gonna add a filter, low pass filter, so that you can actually have more of your bass enjoyable, and then you cut out the higher frequencies in that. So that's just something that you know, I've seen many videos and I've seen people talk, and you'll see that people will not show you that graph. They won't show you that graph. So with that said, the benefits of having a baby like this. Number one, it's efficient enough. It's efficient. Power wise, very, very efficient. When you look at the sixth and the fourth, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I would assume that the sixth is more efficient than the fourth order. But that's still efficient enough. It's more efficient than the sealed by far. It's more efficient than the ported, because you don't have to throw a lot of power to get loud. So that's one of the pros in that. The fourth order bandpass would be then cone control. You got the seal section, which actually acts as a spring, and also helps with your low end extensions of your bass, depending on the size of the seal section. But in fact, one of the big benefits of that is cone control. Very, 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 very useful when you start going a bit with higher volumes and, you know, increasing power and all that. You need a cone control, you know, especially when you play off from your tuning of the box. That unloading, it can be bad. It can be really, really bad on the driver. So having something like this, a sealed, would actually help with that cone control. Even with higher, it's, you know, the cone control is still there. It helps. They are big. Okay. There's no way around that. They are very big. This one here behind me here is for a 6-inch, a 6-inch driver. It's fairly big, but you know it will fit in basically all the cars, any cars, whether small, like for argument's sake, your like the Datsun Go, Unos, you know, small cars, it'll fit, and then your normal traditional city golfs, and you know it'll fit, it'll play. And I mean, I play this in a lounge and in open space, and it plays well. So that means even in SUVs, this one will play very, very well. Obviously bigger, better when it comes to SUV and that, but you can still play with something like this, you know, the 6-inch. But once you, I mean, if you put it in scale now, this is a 6-inch driver, okay? Now imagine a 12-inch. If you want the same amount of, how can I put it, you don't want to undersize. You scale it up to the right adequate size. Scaling this from a 6-inch to a 12-inch, you can just imagine how big that box is gonna be. Done right, just done right, you know. And then what else can I think of now with the pros and cons? I think that's about it. Look, there's a lot of information on that. You're gonna have to obviously do your own research, more in depth. For me, if you've got the space, you've got I would say if you got the space, yes, yes. Oh, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Okay, sorry about that. What I actually wanted to say is the type of person that would actually want an enclosure like this would be someone that maybe don't have a lot of power to throw in, although the fourth order bandpass can handle a lot of power because of the cone control, so you can add more power if you need. But if you want to get loud very quickly, unlike the T-Line gets very loud very quickly, but then it's got its limits as well. But this you can stretch the limits of that. You got the space, you got the patience. I don't know if most of the people will build it for you. I doubt it, because people will always refer to ported boxes. I can build one. I'm more than willing to build one. There's other builders that can build it for you. If you can get a design, you can even take it to a carpenter. Carpenter can build it for you, you know. So you need that as well. And then well, a decent deck. You know, you do need the deck to actually also be able to play nice and well. And also another point I forgot to mention about especially the band passes is once it's built and then you have to put it in the car, it's not the same as with your ported and your aeroports and that, where you know, okay, you might get away with setting it by ear. You want to hear distortion, which for me, it's just out of the question. Use an oscilloscope or use a voltmeter if you can get accurate numbers. Then you can go with a voltmeter. But if you're gonna go by ear, trying to install this bad boy, you are gonna burn the coils because you will never hear distortion. This thing will sound so clean, and you'll be like, wow, you know, why didn't I get this? And then next thing you might either, depending on where the subwoofer is facing, whether inside the sealed or outside, or the ported side, you start smelling stuff, you know, smelling the voice coils, or the sub will just stop playing, and then you'll just be throwing power and it'll stop playing, even sending your amplifier into protect, because now it's basically you clipped so hard that it just gets stuck and it just doesn't move anymore, and then the amplifier also says, hey, okay, I've had enough, you know, got it, protect. So also now that must be taken into consideration when you build one of these bad boys, okay? And I've seen a lot of installers, a lot of them, they do it by ear, okay? But if you build this and you are going to do it by ear, you will suffer the consequences of burning this out. And then the people will be like, you see the band passes? No, the people have warned me about the band passes, they're not good, and whatever. User error, come on, user error. End of story, user error. It's a user error from this point onwards, when you assume that because you don't need a distortion, you just crank it up and crank it up and crank it up using the gain as a volume control. User error, you can't blame the design. You can only blame yourself. Okay, so that should be kept in mind when you want to install one of these babies. Is it for everyone? Probably not, because you know people's tastes, and you know it's difficult to please people with certain genres and what, you know. So, but I will say this: when you want to go low and when you want to play some nice hip hop and that, and the lower end of the spectrum of the frequencies, this is very, very nice. This will be ideal. From my side, I can build the 3-to-1, the 2-to-1 on both sides. 2 being the sealed, 1 being the ported, and then vice versa. And I can do the 1-to-1 ratio. And another advantage of this is also the sound. The sound quality is just a different type of a bass, especially if it masks the distortion. It's just different. From the 2-to-1 perspective, if your sealed is bigger than your ported, you get a rumbling type of a bass. And then if it's vice versa, it's more boomy, okay, because it's also like peakier, and you know. So to try and explain it as best as I can is think of 2 lightning strikes. The first one, you see the flash, and you wait and you wait, you're thinking, but now where's the thunder? You wait, oh, there's no thunder. But then the thunder comes, here it comes. And when it hits you, it's that rumbling, and you can even hear the windows are rattling, and that's a 2-to-1 if the sealed is bigger. It's that rumbling bass. And then obviously vice versa, it's more like when a lightning strikes, it's boom! Immediately the thunder. And it's different. It's just a different sound. Same source of lightning, but it's just different. So that's also another thing that doesn't really get talked about, you know, especially when it comes to the ratios, and you know, I just wanted to add that to the equation and that. But guys, do your research on this kind of enclosure. Comment below. Tell me your experience sound wise with this type of enclosure, this 4th orders, band passes, even a 6th. I'll try and cover the 6th next time. It's just I don't have an enclosure to actually show you, because the enclosure has actually been sold. But I will just maybe just show you what I've designed and that, you know, the one that went into the Chef utility, and then I'll just talk about that on the next video. And also the T-line, the T-line, that one, yeah, we'll definitely be talking about that. Anyway guys, enjoy your week, enjoy, I don't know, just enjoy. Peace. Oh, and I forgot to say one more thing about these type of enclosures. They are very, very windy. Very windy.